This demo is a great example of how, when we're drawing freehand in ink, directly in ink, we can find marks to create effect. And by effect, I mean not just drawing shapes that are accurate, proportions that are accurate, perspective angles that are accurate, but actually capture somehow the feel of how something looks in the three-dimensional space and lighting and distance that we have in our reference or in front of us. Now, it looks as though the video is frozen, but it's not. I'm actually thinking. And that's one of the great benefits of watching a real-time drawing, which is this is. This drawing video demo goes for something less than 20 minutes, which is the time it took me to draw this, including time where even after I'd started, I had to stop and look and consider. Can I point out that an important part of my drawing process is before I start to draw, I experiment with marks, and by marks I simply mean different combinations of lines, of dots, of squiggles, of hatching, of layering, of trying for edges that I experiment with on a bit of paper before I start my drawing. And usually I'll try and draw a certain part of my scene the way I think I'm going to use my marks, create marks, the sorts of marks. And I use the pen that I intend to use as well, because the width of the pen is important, as is the scale, the size of our drawing that we're drawing in relation to the thickness of the pen. So I do all of those things to just experiment a bit and take anything from 2 to 5 minutes to do that. And I've decided not to draw this fence, this gate rather, that comes in the front from the left. I think that's not going to help me capture a nice scene. So when we're trying to create effect, we have to be very careful with our outlines, with our silhouette lines, because they convey extra meaning, and particularly when we want to capture a nice roundness, as we do here, because these posts are actually rounded. We don't want to do straight, smooth lines where the ink is even, because the edges aren't even. And if you're not sure what I'm saying, look to see how these edges end up on these main posts, and then think, well, if Stephen had drawn those just as a straight, continuous, smooth, straight line, would it have had the same sense of reality or not? And can I say quickly here that if you ever have trouble drawing grass, this example, this subject where we have quite long grass that comes up covering the base of our subject, is a great example for how I try and create the effect of grass. And one of the big problems with grass is that we overdraw it. We draw too much and we create a heavier effect than we get in life. Although if we look carefully, we can see all the grass, we can see so many individual blades of grass here because they are all so long. If though we just look at this scene, and we're usually primarily looking at the timber work in that sense, and so the grass is around the edges and it's not our real focus, we don't see it in an overwhelming sense. And also because of the colour of the grass and the fact that we have a lot of it, a very similar colour and value, a tonal value of light to dark, next to each other, it tends to become a bit of a almost continuous application of colour rather than of shapes. So this affects the way it looks, and that's the effect we want to capture. Something that is not as detailed as what we can see, and yet we need to capture enough detail in at least some parts so that we can instantly recognize what it is. So that's a very important part of mark making to create effect, and you'll see that in the second half of this video. And please hit the like button for me. That really helps me out as much as I'm confident this video will help you out. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm starting with this closest post, and I'm trying to draw that a little more slowly. Whatever marks I make, I'm trying to go a little slower to get a slightly heavier line or heavier mark, because darker things tend to look closer. And when I do the further posts, I'm trying to draw them with a bit of a lighter touch and to draw less detail, because things further away often aren't as clear, the detail's smaller, and lines are thinner because the object's further away. The lines that we see are thinner, and therefore I want my mark lines on the paper to be thinner if I can. And sometimes, particularly in a more polished drawing, I will actually switch to a finer pen as the detail moves further back. But in this case, I'm just using the one pen, and it's either a 0.2 or a 0.3 millimeter pen. I've got a feeling it's a 0.2. Now, you can see I'm doing marks now to try and capture something of the timber grain. Now, these are very old eucalyptus, logs really for the post, the upright post, and then there are some planks, cut planks, that become the rails. And I'm wanting to draw enough detail of the timber graining, which in parts has been accentuated by weathering unevenly. Some parts have weathered more than others and have opened up, if you like, larger gaps in the timber graining in some parts of the post than in others. And that's particularly what I want to draw. Now remember, this is real time. So now just look at that. I didn't draw a straight continuous line, not a straight line, but a continuous line there. I drew a line, a dash, a spot, because I'm also trying to position this rail. Now, if we want something to look real, it's not just creating effect from our marks, but it is getting the proportion, the scale, the perspective angles accurate. Now, eye level is actually above the post that we're looking at this point. My camera was higher than those posts, and so therefore the perspective angles increase, become greater as they move down towards the ground, because there really aren't any obvious perspective angles moving upwards. Now, of course, there is perspective over the whole scene, but with the trees in the background, the angles aren't as obvious. So it's really important that I get this fan shape of the angle increasing as the lines move down, in this case, in one direction. And notice I'm working on the detail first on this first closest post, because as I mentioned before, what I want at the end is that this post feels closer, has more detail, the detail is darker, and some of the edges perhaps are stronger. And it's only if I've drawn the closest object pretty much the way it's going to be at the end that I know how much less to do with the post further along, more in the distance, and then how much lighter, how much, if you like, more delicately, more tentatively, I need to draw the furthest post in the distance. And this is where strategizing beforehand, working out what we're going to draw, how we want to draw it, is so important. Because if I'd started with the middle post, say, or the end post, I could have very quickly and easily done too much detail in too heavy a way, so that I really couldn't do it any darker on the closer post. Or if I had, it would have looked too dark, too black. And so it's working out, strategizing is the word I use, the best order in which to do things to give ourselves the best chance of creating the effect that we're wanting to create. Now, when you look at the posts as I've drawn them, the closest one and pretty much most of the next closest one or the middle one, what do you think? Does the closer one feel closer? And can you see how I've created that effect? I've created that look, that feel, by the deliberateness and the amount of detail that I've drawn that closest post with. This doesn't happen accidentally. It can become almost intuitive when we strategize intentionally over and over again. But really, it just becomes a bit faster most of the time. It's not that we stop doing it. And this is why we need to, when we draw, give it our full attention. And we need to particularly take the time that it takes to work out what we need to do beforehand and then to do that well. So often I look at drawings, and the most obvious primary reason why I think the drawing hasn't had a chance of working is it's clearly been rushed. For the result, the person who drew it was obviously wanting to have. So it's important to make the commitment at the start, and not to commit to a drawing of anything that we don't have the energy, the effort, the patience to do as well as we can. It's only if we do it as well as we can that we can then look for the flaws and work out how we can push through those flaws, whatever's not working. If we've rushed it, then we're never going to know whether the flaws are on account of lack of attention or lack of awareness or lack of practice. So that's another great benefit from watching real-time video. It really helps us understand the commitment that a drawing takes, the time that it takes. As I said at the start, when there was that pause where my hand almost didn't move at all for a minute, that even I thought there was a problem with the recording. I actually redid that first audio 3 times, and then I stopped it again and checked and discovered, no, actually my hand is just still. I'm just looking and trying to work out what I've done, having made those first marks. And again, pay particular attention to how I'm creating the feel of these rounded posts. And one thing I always remember is that when I have an edge, and by edge I mean a silhouette edge, not like a sharp edge like on a kitchen bench edge, but simply where we stop seeing an object and we see what's behind it. I pay attention to see if that edge is actually a straight line on a plane that's facing us, or if it's actually a curving 3-dimensional form that's moving away from us, which is the case here. Whenever I have a silhouette which is like that, it's basically a cylinder of some sort of texture and material. And so I'm actually seeing the point where the curvature disappears back around on itself and disappears from view. I try and do, in some way with my mark making, a much lighter feel, and often I do this not just by a thin pen and by holding it lightly and moving it quickly, but also by having some little dashes and dots and basically gaps as well. And that, I think, helps create the feel of this object disappearing from view by degrees. There's no one way to do it. It's what marks create the effect of the object, and the lighting as well as the distance is an important part of the effect of how something looks, the feel of the way it looks, whether one part of the scene stands out more strongly, more clearly than another part, whether we see a lot of detail easily in one part compared to another part, even though if we look at the photo we can actually see all the detail, we can work it all out equally. If that's not the effect when we glance at our drawing, it's that glance, I find, that tells me what effect I need to focus on. It's the obvious things I see when I look at a scene that tells me in life, this is what we see, this is what we focus on, this is what we want in our drawing to find marks that our ink on the paper can create to give that same emphasis in our drawing. And you can see now I'm starting to explore a little bit with value. I'm putting the shadow with some little hatching lines on the rails that go in the distance on the return of this section of a paddock up on the New South Wales far north coast, up near the Queensland border. I found this. And now I'm starting to play around with the grass. But of course, this isn't the first playing around with this grass. I've already got some grass that I've played around with on my scrap of paper with my experimental marks. And that's just out of camera view so that I can look at it if I just want to check the way I captured the effect of this grass. Now, when we have grass that's longish, it's really important that we look for shadows, for where the shadows are, and we try and draw the shadows, and we're almost using the hatching to represent blades of grass. But we're not trying necessarily to draw the grass. Exactly the best way to work this really just depends on the grass that we're looking at. But if you have a look what I'm doing, I'm looking in the photo and trying to find where the grass is darker, because at a certain height, the grass itself throws more shadow onto itself. But then there's also some shadow being cast by the fencing, and that throws a darker shadow onto some of the grass as well. And I really want to capture the variation in shadow in the grass. And these shadows are going to be the primary way that I get the feel of the grass. But what I want is for the fencing to be the main thing. I don't want the grass to be the focus. And so I need to keep reminding myself as I put these marks on to go lightly, to go sparingly, and to continually stop and just look at the effect that I'm creating and thinking, is the effect right? See, there's a degree to which darkening the shadows, the values in the grass or in parts of the grass, will make the fence pop out more, particularly if I'm restrained in where I do it in just the few closest parts of the shadow to one of the edges of the post. But if I do too much, suddenly the grass is going to be such a black, dark value that that's going to draw the eye ahead of the railing and the posts. So the fence is going to be harder to see amidst the darkness of the grass. And the grass will risk becoming, if you like, a pattern, just a lot of lines that it's really hard to tell what it is apart from context. So restraint. I'm looking at the grass now, thinking, is there enough? Do I need to do a little bit more? How much more am I going to do? Am I going to do any of the fence behind or not, or leave it like this? So now I'm increasing the value on some of these rails because I feel, again, if I darken the furthest rails, it'll pop the closer part of the fence to me. And also simply creates a more interesting scene as well. And this is where I'm not necessarily trying to copy the values exactly in this photo. I'm also now looking more and more increasingly at my drawing and working out what will make my drawing sparkle with interest and clarity. And so that's what I'm doing here. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. I have a playlist on drawing the effect of detail that looks at this sort of thing with many, many, many different subjects. G'day, I'm Stephen Travers. I hope this has given you some ideas, but in the end, whatever you draw, however you draw it, make sure you have fun. I'll see you next time. Bye.